Let's do it. This is a PDF. I guess this is a white paper that Zoe B, our friend Zoe B, sent me. And at first, I was kind of just incredulous. Of course, it just looks like every other, geez, AI kind of generated hyperbole and hype from some private company that wants to benefit from this thing. So let's just look into like, okay, who is Felix Oswald? Who is he and what's he about?
So this is from a company called GoStudent, which is a German tutoring company, right?
Sure. Yeah.
With the rise of technology and AI in particular, the education space is set to change significantly once again as accessibility and personalization combine. This is an exciting prospect, but how exactly will it work and what will school look like in 2050? So we're looking at the future here. Right. 2020's education embraces AI. 2030's efficient education via AI autonomy. AI that entered the previous decade will act in an agent role, working on behalf of people to carry out tasks, communicate. I feel like that's what already it's doing, but I mean, carrying out
we're
communications.
We're less than a decade away from the 2030s at this point, you know. Immersive
okay,
VR reshapes daily life.
Yeah, it's weird that we're directly comparing AI and VR because I feel like those are very separate tracks. Yeah, but regardless, so 2040's immersive VR reshapes daily life. The twinning of physical and digital spaces via the metaverse, and the overlaying of digital information onto our physical real world experiences. I guess we'll get to that. And then 2050's brain computers deliver immediate knowledge. This decade will deliver the promise of brain computer interfaces. As a result, knowledge will be assessed more directly and immediately, perhaps by merely downloading it directly to one's brain. In hive mind mode, knowledge no longer resides with one individual but across the group. Isn't this the plot of The Matrix 4? And isn't like isn't Neil Patrick Harris's character like, doesn't he embrace going like hive mode or something? Isn't that the plot? Swarm mode. They go swarm mode. Here's the future of education. What are we talking about? What is this?
Jesus Christ.
What are we looking at here?
So, right, they said that, by 2040, learning is going to happen in this individualized, personalized way in the metaverse. Now, it might be worth pulling up here, like an article about where the metaverse is at right now. If
put on the screen, but like in summary, in one sentence, you can go find other resources that talk about the metaverse in detail, because I feel like it's been taken down so often. But
so to say that the future of education is in the metaverse, I mean, the metaverse isn't even the present of technology, right? We've already moved past that. We saw in our other videos about Khan Academy and of alt school and this like personalization through algorithms thing. This is like the natural and the extreme conclusion of all of that. But how do they plan on getting that personalized delivery is really what they're talking about here. And if we look at the second paragraph, where your mouse is, AI will help teachers guide the subject choice and learning pace of students, but it is highly possible that genetics will also be integrated to help inform learning strategies and identify potential aptitudes for certain skills, trades, or competencies. It may become mandatory for learners to take at least one subject that their DNA testing suggests they will excel in.
In Germany, FYI. This is
you would think a German-based company would have the self-awareness to say like, hey, maybe let's not just lean right into the mandatory DNA testing there, buddy.
So by 2050, simulated environments will be the primary mode of learning in certain subjects like medicine, biotechnology, nuclear, and interstellar studies. Recent research from McKinsey, always a good source for understanding educational technology, the people that are deeply involved with like foreign conflicts and the economy and collapsing the economy, the drug war, estimates that the metaverse has an impact of between 180 billion to 270 billion on the academic virtual learning market. As a result, classes will be both synchronous and asynchronous, taught live by professional teachers and academics, offering thousands of tailored subjects. In these immersive worlds, students will be learning astronomy on a starship, paleontology on a dinosaur island, and discovering ocean marine life underwater, once again rendering the physical classroom obsolete. Students will be taught directly by famous scientists and historians of the past as digital personas generated by AI to teach generations of students to come.
This is just magic, right? They're just talking about magic.
This is like a trope in the VR and AI world that people watch Ready Player One or read Ready Player One and then say, oh yeah, we're going to be like Ready Player One. And they miss the entire not even second half. The entire subplot of that book is that they are living in this post global warming, post nuclear war hellscape. And the reason why everyone's on VR is that the world is entirely controlled by massive mega corporations and people are living in extreme poverty.
I think this might actually be a good time to bring in that article that I sent you about the classical virtual school, because we can at least see like, okay, here is an example happening right now. Virtual reality school is the next frontier of the school choice movement. And of course, they're talking about this Optima Ed, which is a Florida charter school.
God.
Real kind of,
Why is that
real
so
sad
terrifying?
picture there.
Well, forget the sadness of it. I just don't like how it's animated.
Oh God, I didn't even know it was animated. Oh,
yeah, it's like this weird.
It kind of creeps me out. Okay, so let's contrast the rhetoric from GoStudent with the reality that kids who already attend school in the metaverse, what do they do? It's 6 a.m. A little girl who looks to be about 10 years old hits the button on her alarm clock, eats a bowl of cereal, brushes her teeth and hair before going to school. In class, she takes notes while her teacher, Mrs. Marty, gives a lesson. Then everyone puts on spacesuits and helmets, and the class relocates to outer space. So this is the vision for a new kind of education sold in a promotional video for Optima Academy Online, an all-virtual school.
Is this the right video? Okay, so your educational adventure awaits. I love how they can't make this look cool, by the way. Look at the animations on the right. This is 2023.
All I can think about all I can think about is that game Moonbase Alpha.
John Madden.
Let's explore the moon.
They're playing Moonbase Alpha. That's what they're doing. Oh my God. Yep. John Madden. John Madden.
Right.
Wait, what is this?
Watch left. Duck. Jump. Anti-gravity. Run to Earth.
Oh man, it's like they took the idea of Gorilla Tag and made it into an educational experience. Greg Gutfeld at the Optima Education Freedom Gala.
Now, for context,
Greg
Gutfeld is
like
a
the
Fox News
guy. What experience does Greg Gutfeld have with virtual reality and online learning?
I don't think he has a lot of experience with either technology or education.
I do some VR thing before I came out here. Very interesting.
Are you stuck in virtual reality? Is that why you weren't up here?
But it's great. It's great stuff because it's like it's fun and at least you can see where the money goes. Like that is something that is worth putting money into. And it's like it's you know what I mean? It's not, it's not ketchup as a vegetable, If you're old enough to remember that. When they said that ketchup was a vegetable for the public schools?
Yes, I am old enough to remember that.
You could tell Greg Gutfeld's a good comedian because he repeats the line because he didn't sell it.
Spent money to put pictures of vegetables on flat screen televisions all over the school. Yes. I thought that was a great use of taxpayer funds.
Yes.
We take a little segue here because I'm glad you mentioned that you did get to demonstrate the Optima Academy Online. And we were just talking about Optima's mission to expand school choice. This is one of the ways that if you're in a rural community, we can't build a $20 million building, but we can certainly send you a headset,
right.
Take you to learn about the Aztecs, take you to ancient Egypt, to the moon. You can do science experiments and things like that. So that's one of our schools that I talked about.
They gave Greg Gutfeld
no. You can't just have this. What is going on in this image? The person here in the foreground, I think, is the student because they have the uniform on.
That might be the lecturer. That might be the person. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be Greg.
This was Greg.
Yeah, that's Greg. The person in the outfit is like the teacher.
Okay, so the teacher is explaining Greg, and then all of a sudden, this person is reborn in the background, unbeknownst to Greg.
Over his shoulder.
I don't even know. Is it? I think it's all the same person in like 3 stages of their life all at once.
Optima Academy Online, and we were just talking.
So but the lecturer is surprised. Like, look,
We were just
like, whoa, what's over there? Okay. We have the skin, the organs, the
digestive
bones,
tract,
the
something.
nerves, another
Muscles
layer, like
maybe or something.
muscles, sure, okay. And they're all combining together. So we've constructed a human being, and all the while, for some reason, we're in like Morocco or something.
Right. And this heart comes up out of the earth, and Greg Gutfeld is touching a beating heart.
And now Greg Gutfeld has pulled out the heart of this being. He's looking at throwing it, and then all of a sudden, this guy's
like a
here.
football.
I mean, I'm glad that we can see where our money's going.
Right.
That's incredible. How have we not seen that video everywhere?
Hey, thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Visit our website, humanrestorationproject.org. We've got awesome t-shirts up for sale, and you can pledge to give to our funding drive and get a cool mug. Thanks.
They're like all over Fox News, this company. God, we might have to wait on Go School. This might be a two-parter because I want to watch more videos from Optima Ed. This is incredible. What's this one?
Optima Ed is partnering with Step Up for Students to provide engaging, immersive, and content-rich virtual reality field trips to students across the state of Florida. From ancient Egypt to marine biology, from the American Revolution to our solar system, any student with a VR headset and scholarship funds can sign up for unlimited access to our expeditions. Are you ready to take your child's learning to the next level?
Okay. So what I think is pretty incredible, right, is how they are pitching this and the pedagogy that they're using. So you have the opportunity here in VR to take your kids to Morocco or Egypt, wherever they were in that place, to take them to the bottom of the ocean to explore marine biology, to take them into outer space and to the moon, to all of these wonderful places. And you know what they do with it? Lecture at kids. So go to the article.
I'm sorry, I just can't stop watching these videos. What is this? It's like we're teaching kids using like Mist from the 1990s or something. This looks so bad.
Beyond the aesthetics, I think it's worth pointing out, right? What is it that they're doing with this tremendous opportunity and this investment in technology? They're just treating it as a virtual lecture hall. That's all they're doing. Literally,
look at this.
Go back to
Look.
Exactly what it was. Because what are they doing? They're just recreating boring classrooms and boring pedagogy in virtual reality spaces. So this write-up from the New Yorker, what they did is they had a journalist visit their classes while they were in action, right? To see how kids are interacting and engaging in these virtual spaces. So if you scroll down.
Wild. It's endorsed by the World of Moms for Liberty, or at least like comes out of that, as well as endorsed by Ron DeSantis, because it was expanded by making all students eligible via vouchers. The head of the online academy and its academic dean took me on a tour of an early Roman outpost. The images were closer to an animated video game than to documentary footage. I think that's being generous. We teleported past a Roman official's house, decked out with red clay roof tiling, up some stairs to an open patio of black and white checkered marble floors surrounded by Ionic columns and an ivy-covered railing. Here, a teacher may spawn a set of bleachers for students to sit during a lecture on a subject such as history or Latin. Wouldn't you be better off just having a teacher lecture over a bunch of pictures of the space as opposed to being stuck in this poorly animated, like if we had to do lectures? I joined a 6th grade science class on a field trip to an Everest base camp. The scene was elaborately staged. Our group was surrounded by gray tents held up by bright orange poles. A sleeping bag was carefully tucked inside each tent, even though the students wouldn't actually be sleeping there. The teachers had set up weather station equipment that a researcher might use, such as a compass and a barometer. The kids struggled with the lesson. When a teacher asked them where air pressure would be greatest, on the beach or at the top of a mountain, they weren't certain how to answer. The session was chaotic. On a normal day, teachers might press a button and forcibly seat the student to prevent them from moving around during the lesson. But since this was supposed to be an interactive field trip, the kids were free to zoom around at will, which they did. One of them, who had stylized his avatar with a helmet, walked right through me.
You've brought a group of 6th graders to Mount Everest, and you're telling them just to, in virtual reality space, sit down and be quiet and listen to the lecture on barometric pressure, okay? Instead of using it for what it's supposed to be for, right? This virtual playground. In the next activity, we attempted to scale up the Khumbu Icefall, which in real life is a deadly stretch and one route up Everest. The format was a cross between a quiz show and a video game. Using the teleport function on our handheld controllers, we moved along a line of chairs set up along the icefall, occasionally passing a floating note card with a review question. But there was also a physical rule put in place. No one could move the controller in their left hand. Otherwise, they'd fall from the mountain and force the whole group back to base camp where we'd have to start all over again. People must have been using their left-hand controllers because the whole group kept falling and getting reset to the beginning of the activity. Every time, a pre-recorded message from one of the teachers would say, "Oh man, well, hopefully we won't make that mistake again." This is both the flaw of classical education and of the kind of stuff that GoStudent is talking about, and what Florida is spending taxpayer money on to bring to, I don't know, a couple dozen kids in the state of Florida. Absolutely mind-boggling. It's an emphasis on, right, the novelty. It's an emphasis on the spectacle of it.
Maybe this is just an assumption, and maybe this is true just at large, but it also seems like I would bet that the types of folks that subscribe to classical charter school education also just don't understand how video games and technology have developed in the last 20 or 30 years, and that this VR stuff is really not impressive. And there's already a bunch of, like, have them play SimCity or have them play, like,
Civilization.
Assuming that you have the funds to do this, why would you spend $400 to $1,000 or more on VR headsets per kid when you could just buy a range of, like, pretty solid video games? Like, there used to be in schools, like, I remember SimCity, Oregon Trail. Like, we played those games and they worked. They were super fun and they were immersive. And honestly, I think Oregon Trail and SimCity looked better than these VR games do.
But they all have better pedagogy too, you know, in terms of teaching the player how to play and all those other kinds of game design concepts.
Yep. You learn through failure. It's a simulation. Yes. We're going into VR right now, Nick.
Imagine being able to.
Oh God.
Where do you think we're going to be?
Space. I'm guessing space or the ocean.
I'm going to bet that we're, like, with Socrates in Rome.
Okay.
Into ancient Rome and understand.
I called it ancient Rome.
The context in which Marcus Aurelius writes his meditations. If you could go back to, it creates the platform for the discussion of these big ethical questions. When we take the power of the content that is time tested and we create a commodity that can scale by delivering that content in a very accessible fashion, but doing it immersively and with the relationships at the center.
Sorry, I just had to highlight the fact that when he's talking about this being immersive, this is what's playing on your screen right now. Look at how immersive this is.
Again, there's a supreme irony here of the fact that you have these two kids sitting right next to each other, not interacting at all, right? We don't know what's happening, but they could just very easily interact in the space that they are in.
What is this place called? Where are we?
I forget.
Optima.
Optima Ed.
Yeah, I need to learn more about Optima.
So this is a virtual reality content delivery, and what you...
This guy's got his groove shoes on, by the way. You see that?
Virtual reality content delivery, and what you get from that, right, is a much more engaging way to interact with the content, right? So, Augustine says, you've already traveled the world before you've entered grade school. In a place like Hialeah, that doesn't always become the same opportunity. But in virtual reality, we've brought the cost of travel almost to zero. And so students can spend...
Could you imagine, like, telling someone, like, yeah, I went to Optima Academy when I was growing up. I've already seen the world.
The best delivery for an online school. Focusing on virtues, right? Focusing on what's true, good, and beautiful.
That's the secret sauce.
So tell me more about the secret sauce. I mean, I know a lot, but I want to...
And you know this because you know me, is I want to teach civic virtue online. I want to plant our flag.
VR is just funny on its own. I don't even care. Like, I've gone beyond the point of pedagogy to the point where it just looks funny. The combination of classical ed charter school, Florida curriculum, kind of like sterilized rote memorization combined with VR is something I didn't even know could exist. And I'm happy to report that it can. There we go.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
You can get a 3-month subscription. How much does it cost? So during these 3 months, you can spend as much time in our uniquely created metaverse environments as you'd like. So you just get to go into it. And then you also get in-system learning guides. So it's like you're purchasing levels in a thing. You get the Artemis launch, the power of light.
Here's what I'll say about this. This doesn't seem that offensive to me, right? This actually seems kind of cool. You just buy it as a little supplement.
$319 for 3 months.
Well, I get it, but
I don't
like as a supplementary thing. That's not offensive.
Yes, it's not offensive. $319 for an education software. Putt Putt Saves the Zoo, which is like a classic game. Let's even do we can do a more modern one. Putt Putt Saves the Zoo is $7. But I could buy God of War 2 for $70. I could buy Baldur's Gate 3 for $60. Like, these are games that have 300 plus hours worth of content in them that are like award winning. They're trying to sell you a few assets inside of a virtual, like these are not like we saw what these were. These are sticky notes and assets placed throughout an environment that you walk around in for $319. You gotta have the MetaQuest 2, it's like $300. So this in total is gonna cost you about $600. Like we saw this one, the ancient Egypt one. And again, they're just like walking around a bunch of randomly placed assets. Like they're just putting like assets into Unity, exporting it as VR, and then having kids interact with a few, like it's not a game.
This method of just like it being a supplemental thing is fine. Okay. It's totally fine.
I think
the pricing, of course, the pricing is what it is, but like as its own thing, this is fine. But making this the central point of like your whole school is weird.
I couldn't imagine putting a kid into this and going like, have fun. This is going to be fun for about 10 minutes. And then it's going to be like, can I play Gorilla Tag? Can I play Beat Saber? Can I play like an actual video game instead of walking around this weird like world that I just talk to people? Like, I want to play a game. These aren't games. They're not even worlds, right? Like, they're just like spaces that you are in. Where were we? What are we even talking about?
We're off the rails, man. I don't know.
Well, let's stop talking about Optima here for a bit. So that's Optima Academy. We'll be back for part 2 where we go back into whatever this other company was doing. What were they called? GoStudent. He's talking about where basically Optima Academy is going to be in 30 years, but we still have 30 more years until we go hive mind mode. So they're an early innovator in this educational space.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with us. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and put in the comments what your harebrained scheme to merge different ideas of educational technology is in the comments. Bye.